It's October, which for Spanish learners means it's that time of the year again. If you expect to see Spanish-speaking friends and relatives over the holidays, now's the time to start preparing for putting your best face forward. Right now, if you were to meet up with your Spanish-speaking friends and relatives, how would you feel? Are you ready for those face-to-face interactions? Are you prepared to make the effort to bond with them in Spanish? Or are you going to have to ask them to switch to English for you like you did last year? Tens of thousands of students have used our free resources to achieve an intermediate level of Spanish, but still can't consistently understand the native speakers in their life, can't express things important to them freely in Spanish, and ultimately aren't able to bond with native speakers the way that they bond with English speakers. So what do you do now? What are the next specific steps that you need to take in the next couple of months to bond with those people better than you ever have before? Is there a roadmap for being the best you can by the end of the year? This week, in this series of 3 short videos, I'll lay out the roadmap for you. We'll go over the top 3 things that you need to do between now and when you meet up with your Spanish-speaking relatives. And if you follow the plan as prescribed, you will feel better about this holiday season than you ever have. You'll be better prepared to speak and listen in Spanish on more and more topics, and you'll be ready to start making deep personal connections with the Spanish speakers in your life, just like our coaching students do. Imagine how awesome it'll be to go into the holiday season with your Spanish speaking and listening skills as polished as they can be. It all starts with the 3 rules that I'll lay out in these 3 videos. Today we'll cover rule number 1, which is actually very simple and easy. And the reason that I'm giving you the easiest rule first is because if you follow it, it'll give you an instant confidence boost that will help you build momentum on your Spanish as you move toward the holidays. Rule number 1 is to learn 1 new word or phrase in Spanish every day. Okay, this rule is actually not that simple. There's a little more nuance to it than that, and we'll go into detail in a second. But that's the essence of the rule. The thing is, if you learn something new in Spanish every day between now and the end of the year, you'll have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that you are improving, at least a little bit, on a consistent basis. Now, before we go into the strategy that I recommend for following this rule, a lot of students wonder why I'm emphasizing vocabulary right now. Because if you follow this channel at all, you're aware that at Accelerated Spanish, we consistently emphasize grammar as the foundation for learning a new language. And if you've used the free Accelerated Spanish materials or gone through the Spanish in 1 month challenge, you're now probably pretty good at forming sentences in good Spanish and even starting to think in Spanish, but with a very limited vocabulary. That brings us to where we are now. Learning grammar first does give you the essential foundation, but it's time to build on that with new vocabulary. And at this point, the vocabulary that you choose will be personal to you. So let's talk about how to find the right vocabulary and how to make sure that you can truly use that vocabulary in real life this holiday season. Rule number 1, again, as we're describing it, is to learn 1 new word or phrase every day. But there's a caveat. There's no reason to learn something new every day if what you're learning isn't useful. So let's go over some pro tips for choosing the right vocabulary to learn that will give you results this holiday season, the words that will actually be most powerful for you personally. We'll also cover how to make sure you can remember and use these words effectively. It's one thing to look up a new word every day and then forget it a week later. It's another thing to build on your vocabulary incrementally without forgetting anything that you're learning, which ensures that you're truly moving forward consistently. So here are some strategies for following rule number 1 this year. First of all, let's talk about choosing the right vocabulary. If you've ever worried that you were just spinning your wheels, learning silly vocabulary that you'll never use, that's probably because you're following conventional advice, using textbooks or phrase books to learn nouns, verbs, and adjectives the way that you would in school. But the reality is that most of the time, learning vocabulary like this isn't actually very valuable. Whenever you actually think of something you want to say in Spanish and open your mouth to talk, the things that you've learned often don't serve you very well. And that's actually the key to getting better at Spanish. Opening your mouth to talk. Specifically, try listening to yourself talking and seeing what it is that you actually say on a daily basis. You'll quickly find vocabulary that actually matters, the things that you talk about in real life. So once a day, tune in to your own language and listen to what you say. Choose 1 or 2 words or phrases that you can say in English but that you don't yet know in Spanish and look those things up. There are 2 ways that our students do this. One is to spend some effort each day to actually listen to the things that you naturally say in English. You can record yourself actually talking during the day if you're comfortable with that, or simply take notes after a conversation to try to remember some of the phrases that you used with the person you were talking to. What this does is it gives you a clear, honest picture of how you really talk in English. As you go over it afterwards, you'll definitely notice some things that you said in English that you wouldn't know how to say in Spanish. That's great material. Go ahead and take note of 1 or 2 of these things and look up how they would be said in Spanish. To remember to do this every day, some of our students use an idea called the Spanish zone. What you do is you choose a time of the day or maybe a room in your house that is your Spanish zone. Whenever you enter this zone, you switch into Spanish, at least for the first couple of minutes or so. Basically, take every thought that you think or everything that you might say in English during that time or in that place and try to turn it into Spanish. Take note of any words that are missing because you don't know them yet in Spanish, and then look them up. Another exercise that some of our students like is to visualize a conversation that you might have during the holidays this year. So picture yourself sitting down with one of the Spanish speakers in your life. Imagine that you're talking about a certain topic that you like, and then try to see how much you can picture yourself saying in Spanish to that person. Most likely, you'll soon get stuck, unable to think of how to say something in Spanish, just like you would in real life if you were having that conversation. Congratulations! You've uncovered a word or phrase that you don't know yet, and one that you can actually imagine using in real life this holiday season. Whichever exercise you choose, if you do this every day, you'll be finding practical vocabulary that's important to you. Instead of just looking up vocabulary in books and uncovering some travel phrases or colors or animal names, you'll be doing a little bit of daily research as to how you personally need to improve your Spanish. Look these words up and save them so that you can practice using them. Now let's talk about how to practice using this vocabulary. Because it's one thing to find words that you need to learn in Spanish, but it's another thing to remember them permanently and to be able to use them fluidly in conversation. First and foremost, if you do nothing else, make sure to create a list of these words so that you can review them on a regular basis. What's more valuable, though, is to turn them into flashcards so that you can quiz yourself in a random order by looking at the English and trying to guess the Spanish. This is demonstrably one of the fastest, most reliable ways to put a Spanish word into your permanent vocabulary. We already have a series of videos on how to use Spanish flashcards to put Spanish words into your permanent vocabulary, and I highly recommend checking them out. But not yet. First, go ahead and just start this whole process. Go out there, find vocabulary that you personally need, and start taking note of it. Then come back, and if you have the time, watch our videos on how Spanish flashcards can help you become fluent. The thing is, it's one thing to scroll through videos like this one on YouTube and learn more and more strategies for learning Spanish, but as you probably suspect in the back of your mind, the real work is simply going out and implementing these strategies. So go take the first step now. Start collecting vocabulary that you know is personally important for your everyday conversations. If you do, good things are in store. I'll be releasing the Rule 2 video in a couple of days, and it's the most important rule of the 3. Rule number 2 will help empower you to elevate your Spanish confidence so that speaking with your relatives this year will be a lot less awkward. In this next video, I'll also give away a bank of previously unreleased resources that will strongly accelerate your path to fluency. Plus, I'll announce a giveaway of Spanish coaching to one of the people watching these videos and taking action on them. So go ahead and take the first step now. As a quick tip, for the first few days, try to restrict yourself to only one new word or phrase every day. Learning just one new term per day might not sound like much, but again, if you know that you're learning a little bit of new Spanish every day between now and the holidays, you're building momentum that you'll appreciate in a few weeks. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.